So what is routing? So a route is essentially a groove in a piece of wood, and that's where the name comes from for the power tool, the router. And we have a table router and we have a hand router within the school, and both have different functionalities and will be required depending on your needs, and I'll explain that in detail later. Both of the routers have a cutter, which you can find here or here, and those cutters come in a variety of different shapes and forms in order to create different shaped grooves, or also it creates different edges on pieces of wood. So you might remember doing that in Year 10. The router can only be used with timbers, so a natural wood or a manufactured board. It is a wasting process, you're cutting material away. In terms of health and safety for this, you need to make sure you're wearing goggles. There needs to be a good extraction system in place, and if you're using the table router in particular, you want to make sure you're wearing ear defenders because it gets really noisy. You're also going to have to make sure you work one-to-one with another teacher to make sure that everything's set up and safe.
The table router allows you to create straight grooves partially and all the way through a material. You will see that the guide is positioned a set distance away from the cutter depending on the measurements required by the user. The height of the cutter can be set beforehand as well, depending on the depth of the cut required. The table router can also be used to create specific edging details, and I'll explain this further now.
So what you can see here is the variety of different cutters that you can use with the router. And if, for example, we look at this material, and you can see here it's a straight bevel, you're going to be using a cutter that looks like this. It's kind of angled, beveled, and it's straight. And so that's going to create this kind of edging here. You can also get some with some curvature. So this would be used with the material like so to create this fillet along the edge. And then when you're looking at something a bit more complex like this cutter would have been used to create that shape there. So you can see it kind of digs in that sharp point there to create that form and create that different edging. If you're just simply cutting through material like so, either creating a groove or cutting all the way through, you're going to be using a plain cutter. And you can see actually there's a large variety here of lots of different sizes. So you'd find the one that was the appropriate size, depending on the size you needed, and it cut through the whole way or partially through.
The hand router. The advantage of the hand router is the freedom to cut material in a variety of ways. You will see me free cutting the material, which can be done with organic pathways. You can also create jigs and patterns that can be used alongside the hand router to help you cut set forms and shapes. Key things to remember about the routers. You're going to need to work one-to-one with a teacher. It's a wasting process, so it cuts away material. The cutters come in a variety of shapes. The material can be moved in two different directions, the Y and Z axis, to allow complex paths to be cut away. It can be used to cut into woods, natural and manufactured boards, and it's imperative that you use good goggles, extraction and ear defenders when using the kit.